Alright guys, quick message here. It's freaking cold out here, and I think we're supposed to get like 3 inches of snow over the next 2 days, or it might even be 1 day, I'm not sure. I like the snow, but I'm kind of sick of it. I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for things to warm up for sure. I'm ready to get the garden going. Got a bunch of plans, especially now that I have all this amazing camera gear that John hooked me up with. I wanted to just remind everybody before we get into the bulk of this message that I have a second unboxing video that I'm putting some additional content into before I publish it. John sent out a bunch of additional stuff. You guys are going to be shocked when you see what he sent out. It is just insane. But I mean that in a good way. So keep an eye out for the second unboxing video, guys. I've got the cats out here right now, these kittens. I've got Shiva, Oyster, and Alice. They're a real handful. They try to escape all the time, so I might have to pause this video a few times and stitch the videos together, but it is what it is. You know, I wanted to plug my Instagram really quick, you guys. Go over to my Instagram page. I do a ton of write-ups that I never post here on YouTube. I post daily on Instagram. In fact, if you count adding content to your stories tab on Instagram, I'm way more active on Instagram than even YouTube. So daily, you guys, pretty much, I post stories to my stories tab. So if you want like a deeper, like a closer behind the scenes look at my life, my supplement program, pretty much everything, go over to my Instagram page and follow me. I'm watching these kittens. I know that Shiva's going to try to escape. But yeah, you guys, I do a ton of posting over there. So check it out. Links in the description box below. You can also go to serpentsource.com and it'll route you to the coming soon page. And at the bottom of the page, there's an Instagram or icon. If you click that, it'll route you to my Instagram page. It makes it really easy to find me. But guys, I wanted to briefly talk about the occult or the mystical nature of the human body. The human body is the true temple of God, and the spine is the stairway to heaven that your Bible hints at. It just is. The Bible largely is a metaphysical text on how to awaken the fires of Kundalini. And that kind of flips everything about modern Christianity upside down. And a lot of people are going to have a problem with what I just said. I don't really care. I know through personal experience that Kundalini is the epitome of the religious experience. And it allows you to merge with God while in the flesh, guys. So Kundalini is pretty much the nucleus, or the genetic material in the nucleus of this channel. The intention of this channel is to spread information about the Serpent Force, essentially. It's why this channel is called Sacred Serpent. The Serpent Force is the Kundalini energy. But again, the spine is the stairway to heaven, and the human body is the true temple of God, folks. So, it's just amazing, folks, what we've been turned into, essentially, because we've been genetically engineered, and nanotech has a lot to do with this. They have actually tampered with, these genetic engineers, the human biology, and turned us into a slave species by way of turning off a lot of our our DNA. The bigwigs like to call it junk DNA. So, Kundalini energy can rise up the spine, the 33 vertebra of the spine, which are the 33 stairs on the stairway to heaven. And if it manages to climb up the spine, you guys, the energy, it begins to accumulate or pool up at the base of the skull near the medulla oblongata. This particular region is known as the mouth of God. And this region is located near the medulla oblongata, kind of where the head or the skull connects to the top of the spine. It's located near the C1 and C2 vertebra. If you want to pinpoint the location, this mouth of God. So Kundalini energy climbs up the spine. It begins to pool or accumulate at the base of the skull near the medulla oblongata. This is called the mouth of God. And it stays in, not necessarily in stasis, but it temporarily gets plugged at the base of the skull before it is crucified and ascends or is drawn upward into the brain, into the king and the queen's chamber, which is the pineal and the pituitary glands. Right? So the mouth of God is a really important thing to familiarize yourself with. Most people that talk about Kundalini don't talk about this. In fact, most people that talk about Kundalini, you guys, have never even come close to experiencing it. This is not something that you can mistake. This isn't something that I think I might have had a Kundalini awakening. No. This is a religious experience where you and God merge, ladies and gentlemen. You see, you're made in the image of the Creator. When the Creator creates something, it doesn't separate itself from its creation. So Kundalini is just a part of our overarching genome, or our being, that is designed to connect us to God while in the flesh. See what I'm saying? So what they've done, these vampires in charge, is they've genetically engineered the human biology to keep this energy from being turned on. And when you do that, you can turn a God species into a slave species. Catch my drift? So there are 3 primary channels, although there are many more than 3, but there are 3 primary channels that Kundalini energy moves through. These are known as the Sushumna, which is the main central channel of the caduceus. It's the main central channel in our spine that Kundalini moves up, but there's also 2 other channels. These are known as Pingala and Ida. And Ida is a feminine force, ladies and gentlemen, and Pingala is a masculine force. These 2 channels are known as being solar and lunar. The feminine Ida being lunar, the masculine Pingala being solar. They're often referred to as Ida and Pingala, but you can also refer to them as Samael and Lilith, Artemis and Apollo. What's another good one? Adam and Eve. These channels, these polarities that are within us. So you have these 2 polarities in a central column. And these 2 polarities, when they begin to gain friction or work with one another, it causes the central rising up the stairway of heaven of Kundalini energy. And again, the spine is the 33 steps on the stairway of heaven, or stairway to heaven. This is occult knowledge, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not just speaking about it because I find it interesting. I speak about this stuff because I've experienced it. See, there's a huge difference between experiencing something and talking about it. And many of the people... My cat's going to try to escape. I'll be right back. So to continue, you guys, a lot of the people talking about Kundalini, writing books about it, and teaching about it have never experienced it. Or they've been illusioned into thinking that they're having an experience when they're not. You guys, your body this is not, again, something that you can mistake. It's not something that's just purely mental either. In fact, Kundalini is a largely physical process. Largely. It's amazing. I've had a handful of experiences with this energy, and even though some of these experiences happened years and years ago, I still think about it every day. It has created an all-consuming fire within me. And it has forever changed my biology, you guys. You see, when Kundalini moves through your system, it changes your cells. It changes your biology. It changes your genome. And this isn't me sitting here trying to toot my own horn and brag. This is just me being honest with you. What's the point of having a channel if I'm not going to be honest with you? This is something that we can all experience. This is what we were designed to experience, right? And our enslavement is largely done. I'd say about 95% of our enslavement as a species is done by way of our Kundalini energy being turned off. And again, this is through genetic engineering. You see, most people have no clue just how much we've been edited, gene edited, right? So that's the battlefield that we're living on, or living in. You have nanotech in your bloodstream, ladies and gentlemen. You have nanotech colonies in your system. And don't try to tell me that, you do some ritual baths and you busted all the nanotech out of you. Again, the way that people illusion themselves or deceive themselves it's amazing. It is insane. So the more conscious you become, guys, the more you're going to see the Archon's influence in your system, in your mind, in your body, etc. And the smart man or woman, once they realize that their body has been edited, they're going to take steps to remove that influence from their system, guys. And it starts with a valid nutritional program. In fact, the easiest way to begin doing this is through a valid supplementation program. You've got to get an adequate flow of the 90 essential nutrients into your system. You see these minerals, the amino acids, the vitamins, the essential fatty acids, the 90 essentials. Not only do they feed your protoplasm and keep your body healthy, but they affect your mind. And they also allow for how would I explain this? If you don't have enough of the essential nutrients, how are the fires of Kundalini going to stoke in your system? How is the electrical current of Kundalini going to move through your cerebral spinal system without frying you? Right? And just a little side note here, you guys, and I'm going to do a video about this in the near future. I believe that most cases of spontaneous combustion are because Kundalini energy is trying to move through its proper circuits, but it reaches a point where it's like there's a blockage. So what ends up happening is you light on fire. Spontaneous combustion is a very real thing. It's also a highly fascinating subject, and I'm surprised I haven't talked more about it on this channel. I've talked briefly about it in random rants in the past, but it's been so long. We need to do an entire fucking video on cases of spontaneous combustion. So it's like when the Kundalini, when it builds up in your system, it's like a fire, you guys. I've explained this in the past, and I'm going to lightly touch upon it now. When Kundalini started to build up in my coccyx, also known as the coccygeal church, before the fire rose up my sushumna, the tip of my coccyx felt like there was 1 million white-hot coals accumulated on one little isolated point. It's a heat, you guys. Your spine, the process of Kundalini is much like a thermometer, in fact. And that's something that I'll talk about in the near future. Like, you have this heat that builds up, and then it moves up the stairway of heaven, the 33 vertebra, the 33 main vertebra, the stairway of heaven, and then the energy gets crucified at the base of the skull, at the mouth of God, by the medulla oblongata. This is the C1, C2 axis points, the vertebra. And then the energy gets crucified and before it's brought past the brainstem, essentially, it ascends into the brain. And when this Kundalini energy gets into the brain and accesses or turns on the king and the queen's chamber, the pineal and the pituitary, the thalamus, everything, what ends up happening, you guys, is a substance floods forth from your brain known as soma or amrita, or the elixir of immortality. This is what causes Christ consciousness to ensue. It's the flooding of the waters of Nun, essentially, you guys. So when the energy gets into the head, it causes all of these hormones to secrete, these tryptamines, etc., and it also causes this magical substance to flood forth from your brain, or out of your brain, known as soma, amrita, ambrosia, the nectar of the gods, the elixir of immortality. And when this energy or this substance floods through your brain, you experience Christ consciousness. You then know, and only then will you know what the true Christ is. Right? You see, they've got you thinking that Christ is some sandal-wearing white guy in a robe that's like just up in the celestial sphere listening to you with a spiritual stethoscope, judging everything. The Christ is in you. You see, we've all been led astray. The Bible is a occult book, ladies and gentlemen, and a lot of the Christians aren't going to like to hear that because they've been led to think that anything occult is demonic, right? The Bible is a secret doctrine, if you will. It's encoded in messages. It's not only symbolic and allegorical, but it's metaphorical, and some of it's literal, you guys. So, man, I really just wish I had more time to produce content. My life right now is so stressful. I've got so many obligations right now, you guys. Otherwise, if I had nothing but free time, if I was made of money, all I'd do is sit around all day and fucking research and make videos, the most detailed videos about, again, for instance, like how the Bible is a secret doctrine, if you will, a code for waking Kundalini up. The 12 cranial nerves, the 12 main cranial nerves in your brain, guys, are the 12 true apostles of Christ. And when Kundalini gets into the head, the 12 apostles of Christ, Shiva, don't even think about it. The 12 apostles of Christ are illuminated and turned on, and it's through the awakening of these 12 main cranial nerves that this substance, this amrita, this soma, is flooded into your brain, you guys. That's the elixir of immortality. You see, our body's supposed to produce a substance that keeps us alive forever. See what I'm saying? And once you realize that personally through experiencing Kundalini, you guys, only then will you realize how altered we've become, how gene edited we've become. You see, there's vampires that run the show here, guys. And I think the vampire archetype is very interesting, but the vampires that run the show here, they're not your typical, I'm not even going to talk about it right now. They are the scum of the earth, long story short. And what really threatens the continuity of these parasites in charge is the awakening of Kundalini, the return of Christ. That's what Kundalini is. That's what the return of Christ is. Waiting for some figure to come out of the sky and save you. It's never going to happen, guys. It is never going to happen. And if it does, you better fucking be, you better question that. You ever heard of Project Bluebeam? I think that's what it's called. You see, they're getting ready to do stuff, guys, with spacecraft and all this other stuff, and it's not even real. The public is so easy to bedazzle and to hoodwink, it's not even funny. We're a slave species. So this Kundalini thing is for a very fringe minority of the population. Most people will never get it. Shiva? Shiva! Man. Anyways, you guys, just a brief little rant before it starts snowing. I'm just, every day, it's like, I am so fascinated by all of this, you guys. It's my life. I am just fascinated at what humans have been reduced to, what we've all been reduced to. I'm not here saying that I'm better than anyone. I'm just someone who's experienced some stuff. We all experience stuff. We all have something to contribute to the collective, right? But it's really something to witness, you guys. And to really understand the mind control, you have to have a reference point outside of your mind control. You have to enter into non-ordinary states of consciousness in order to understand the mind control, guys. Shiva! This cat, I'll be right back. You're a very good one, Alice. Yes, you are. So this is Alice, guys, part of my cat army. She's still a kitten. And she was very shy at first and didn't really like to socialize. But now, out of the 3 outside kittens, she's honestly, she's like a little dog. She follows me pretty much everywhere. She loves attention. But yeah, when I first got her, she was really shy. And kind of just, I wouldn't say timid per se, but she didn't really like being pet, and she would always kind of hide from me. But now, I'll show you guys. She just loves following me around. Don't you, kitty? I'll show you. See what I mean? She loves attention, and she's just such a good little cat. Aren't you? Yes, you are. Yes, you are, kitty. Come on. Ha. And then over here we've got the troublemaker. Shiva, come here. This is Shiva. Shiva is a little she's fueled by mischief, aren't you, kitty? They're all very sweet though, guys. They don't bite. They're very gentle. They love attention. Don't you guys? And I'll show you Oyster. What are you doing, kitty? Hey, Oyster! Oyster cat! Come here, kitty. Yeah, they come to me like dogs, guys. Guys, look! Hey, Shiva! Yeah, you guys are good. So I never really intended on having a bunch of cats, guys, but it's kind of what life threw at me. So I chose to embrace it. I've always been more of a dog person. But to be honest, I mean, these cats are so good that I'm very glad that I have them. So Aster, the mother of these kittens, had 2 litters of kittens. And after the second litter, I got her in and had her spayed, because I can't just keep hoarding cats, you know. So these guys have had to be treated with medicine. I treated them naturally with colloidal silver and a few other things. When I first got them, they had all this eye gunk, and they were constantly sneezing, and their eyes were swollen. And now they're pretty much back to normal, if you will. Maybe in the near future I'll show you guys my program that I utilized to treat them. But Alice just has the most gorgeous orange eyes. And there's Oyster. Hey, Oyster Cat. There's a reason why I named these guys what I named them. Come on, guys. So these are the outside cats. I've got inside cats as well from Astor's first litter. And, you know, I live in the middle of nowhere. But unfortunately, about 7 feet in front of the house, there's a road that's frequently trafficked by coal miners in semi-trucks taking coal from the mine to the treatment facility. So there's times, guys, where there's not a single car or truck on this road. And then there's times where the semis are transiting or moving loads of coal. And sometimes it's just non-stop semi-trucks. So Ginseng, one of the kittens that I had from Astor's first litter, unfortunately got hit by a semi. So I never intended on having all these cats, but I'm not going to let them just wander out in the road and get they're smashed by cars, you know. So I don't really care if people think I'm a crazy cat person. It doesn't really matter to me. To me, these are more than just cats. These are non-ordinary beings, of which I foster a non-ordinary connection with. And there's a protocol for doing that, guys. There's a reason why the Egyptians, for instance, venerated cats. But we live in a world where people are disconnected from the shamanic nature of reality. So when people look at a cat, they just see a cat, right? When people look at a crow, all they see is a crow. And we don't see the magic or the shamanic qualities of this reality anymore, you guys, because our senses have been habituated through repetition to not be able to see beyond the visible light spectrum, right? So the shamans know that these animals are far more than just animals, guys. They're totems. And the shamans are capable of perceiving beyond the visible light spectrum. And the visible light spectrum is just a tiny iota or fraction of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Hi, Alice. What are you doing, cat? But I really should show you guys in the future how I treated these guys with colloidal silver and a few other things. And that way, if you have a sick animal or a sick cat, you can go about treating them, if you wanted to, the way that I did it. So money's tight, guys. I don't have a bunch of money for vet bills and stuff like that, so I always lean on natural things when I can. And the silver worked wonders. I also use the amino acid lysine for these guys. And lysine, you guys, makes it hard for viruses to replicate, or it makes it more difficult. I'm not saying that this stuff in any way, shape, or form is a cure, but I will say that it worked for me. It worked for these kittens. And I don't really know how old these guys are now. They're getting big, though, I tell you what. Shiva cat. What are you doing? So I applied, I diluted some, I think it's 500 parts per million. I'd have to look at the bottle, silver. It's been a while since I treated them, but I diluted some 500 parts per million silver and then administered the silver via syringe. And then a couple hours after I gave them the silver, I gave them the lysine in their food and some form of iodine that's safe for these kittens. And it helped a lot. So stray cats are really prone to illness. They're really prone to viruses, etc. So not only is it good for you to treat them, or good for them to treat them, but if you're going to be around cats, you've got to make sure that you're not going to get something that they have. You know what I mean? Because again, cats are really prone to illness, to viruses, etc. What are you doing? But anyways, guys, in the future I'll show you more if you guys are interested in seeing the other kittens. I'm also going to be getting a snake here pretty soon. I've had multiple snakes throughout my life. but I am going to get another python. What are you guys doing? They love playing in my... this is an Artemisia princeps that died back during winter, and I'm really hoping it comes back. All that's left is just some dead plant matter, but they love playing in my Artemisias. Over here, this is an Artemisia vulgaris that died back. Again, I'm hoping that they come back. I didn't have them in the ground very long before it started to freeze here in this part of Virginia, so we'll see. Spring's right around the corner. What are you doing? Oyster cat. So again, that's an Artemisia princeps. Next to it, you can't really see it, but there's a Rose of Sharon. This is an Artemisia vulgaris, also known as mugwort. This is an elderberry that was very healthy, but the snow just nuked these guys. Raspberry, blackberry, which still has some green on it, surprisingly. Another blackberry, and then this is a blueberry. Those of you guys who watch my content know that I'm a big fan of blueberries. I take blueberry extract pretty much every day. It's high in a more bioavailable cousin of resveratrol known as pterosilbene, a very powerful stilbenoid that has neuroprotective and cognitive enhancing effects. Pterosilbene can also be taken as an isolated supplement. Doublewood Supplements has a really good pterosilbene supplement. But blueberries, you guys, just to add this, there's a lot of research that's been done on blueberries, and they've been shown to improve cognition, enhance memory and mental functions, etc. Blueberries are high in anthocyanins, or anthocyanins, depending on... People pronounce these things differently. There's also a handful of beneficial pigments in blueberries, so I like to eat blueberries raw. I'll even eat them cooked down, like a fruit stew with oats. And I also take the blueberry extract. So blueberries, you guys, under these past 4 years, the trucks keep throwing me off. These past 4 years, groceries have been so expensive that I haven't been eating daily blueberries, so I've been supplementing heavily with the blueberry extract. And I'm just sick of spending so much on fruit and produce and groceries in general. So this is one blueberry. There's two of them back here, but this spring I'm going to put a bunch in the backyard and try to grow a ton of blueberries. These are roses. And then this is the chicken coop here, you guys. But over there, that's Aster, the mother of my kittens. Aster, what are you doing, kitty? Why don't you come over here? This is the door to the chicken coop. There's actually two doors leading to this chicken coop. This is not done. I need to put a roof on it, but this spring I'll be getting chickens and a rooster. I'm just sick of buying groceries, you guys, and I like to eat a lot of eggs, but an 18 pack of eggs that I used to get when I lived in Roanoke, Virginia, the 18 pack of jumbo eggs was like $1.90. That same pack now is over $10 here in this part of Virginia. So, I mean, who wants to spend that much? And that's just one of, like, everything's just through the roof. So I'll be having my own chickens. I'm going to be getting a very specific breed of chicken that is very hardy, has a strong immune system, and also lays a lot of eggs. People think that all chickens are the same. It's not the case. Some produce eggs frequently and some don't. So I want a large yield of eggs because I like eating eggs often. I put eggs in my venom shake. Links in the description box below if you haven't seen the recipe for the venom shake. It has raw eggs in it. And then over there, you guys, you see those stones that are wrapped around an old tire? Forgive my dirty sweatshirt. I wear this specific sweatshirt when I'm out here because lately it's been so nasty, the weather and whatnot, and these kittens jump up on me with their muddy paws, so this is like my designated outside jacket. It needs to be washed, though. But the washing machine decided to break, so I'm taking my stuff down to a local laundromat until I can afford to get another washing machine, which should be soon if I can speak. That, you guys, is an underground compost bin that I made. I used a tire that I cut in half as like the protective membrane to keep stuff out from, it's about 4.5 feet deep. And I've got a bunch of stuff, scraps and stuff and whatnot in there that it's decomposing. I'm going to use that as a supplement for my soil this spring. This is over 80 acres of untouched land behind the house. I don't own this land, but no one's ever back there, so it pretty much feels like it's mine. But this is, my roses did better than the pretty much every other plant back here. I didn't know that roses were this hardy. I thought they were very susceptible to cold. But these guys, even when we were getting like 3-degree weather, the leaves stayed green. So I'm going to be using these for making my own flower essences, and a lot of the stuff, the main plants, you guys, that I like to grow, they're going in the backyard. But up here in the front is my Artemisia section. And I'm going to section off a big chunk of the land back here and put a small gate in. And then I'm going to have probably an 8x8 square that's fenced in just with Artemisia plants, such as but not limited to Artemisia absinthium, which is my favorite plant to grow. It's common wormwood. I'm very close to the intelligence or diva or spirit within the Artemisia plant, especially Artemisia absinthium, which is that particular herb is used as an ingredient in the famous alcoholic drink known as absinthe, which is said to house what's known as the green fairy. There's a reason for that. Wormwood is full of living intelligences. All plants are, guys. But there's something very special about the wormwood plant, and it's because it's relatively high in something known as thujone. And thujone is a magical substance that houses elementals. We got the Shiva cat over here. I've got some tires on the side yard. I'm trying to avoid showing you guys because they don't look very good. I kept them over here so that these cats could play on them. But we have a bunch of tires here to use for gardening pursuits, and I'll show you guys what I'm going to do with the tires in the near future. This spring, this yard's going to look so much different when spring comes around, guys. Everything just looks nasty right now. The yard needs to be cleaned up. I got a lot of plans for this yard. So I think you guys will be shocked when you see what the yard looks like in spring. But anyways, you guys, I just wanted to show you guys the cats and do a little bit of a random rant here. But I am going to wrap this one up. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned because we got a lot of content coming, guys. Peace be with you all. Alright guys, it's dark as hell, but we're going to try to capture some of this lightning on footage or on camera. I feel like if we're patient enough, we might get some lightning. So, I think we already got some. I call upon Prometheus to shower this earth with Promethean fire. Fill the skies with electric light. In a sense, you guys, lightning is much like Kundalini. There we go. Let the skies be showered with Promethean light. There we go. Kundalini for the Westerner, especially the Westerner, is much like lightning. It spontaneously ignites, often with no prior build-up, etc. That's what's known as a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. We're going to wait a little bit longer. Chances are when I turn the camera off, that's when the lightning will really start to strike. Lightning is a very spiritual thing, guys. It's a very potent force. There we go. I don't know if you guys can hear the rain right now, but it's raining pretty good. Lightning contains elementals, living forces that embody its makeup. Everything's alive here, guys. Everything in the biosphere is alive. Everything has consciousness too. It's just that due to our habituation, we can no longer relate to the consciousness of trees or something like lightning. This is due to the habituation of the brain by way of culture largely, and mind control, and pollution, environmental pollution, etc. But we've been trained, if you will, to only see the visible light spectrum, or interact with, our senses interact with the visible light spectrum. And if you go onto Google or any search engine and type in the electromagnetic spectrum, locate the visible light spectrum, and you'll notice that the visible light spectrum is just a tiny fraction of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Spirits, things of that nature, elementals, they largely exist outside of the visible light spectrum. I'm sure you guys can hear one of my cats sneezing in the background. Spiritual forces like elementals can, however, temporarily enter into our field of vision within the visible light spectrum, but those experiences are often fleeting. It's like asking a goldfish, if you will, to go outside of its bowl and exist on land. It's not the best metaphor, but a fish can temporarily escape water, but eventually it's going to need to get back into its natural habitat. Alright, we're going to wait about one more minute. See if we can get some lightning going here, guys. And now it's starting to rain a lot. Come on, Prometheus. So if you guys have seen the first Matrix film, which you should have, I'm sure if most of you have seen it, when Neo meets Morpheus for the first time in person, see the lightning? When Morpheus turns around to meet Neo after he walks in through the doors after going up the spiral Masonic staircase, when Morpheus turns around, or as he's turning around, a lightning bolt flashes in the window behind him or in front of him. Morpheus is a metaphor or a symbol of Prometheus, guys. That's what the lightning bolt in that film is symbolizing. That Promethean fire, or the electricity, that's Kundalini energy. It's largely symbolic. It's a Gnostic treasure chest of symbolism, guys, that movie. The first one's the best, in my opinion. There we go. A little bit more lightning. Some cars coming. There we go, guys. Did you see that one? Alright, one more minute, then I'm going to wrap this one up. Oh, I think we're about to get lucky, guys. Hear the thunder? The sound of the gods. Alright, 40 seconds. Oh yeah! Nice. Alright guys, I'm gonna wrap this segment up. Perfect timing. Listen to that thunder. I'd go out in the street or in the backyard, but I don't want to get my camera wet. 20 seconds. Boom. I can almost guarantee you when I stop recording, that's when the lightning's going to start shooting across the sky in abundance. There we go. The elements are magical, you guys, and I look at lightning as an elemental, a sentient force. As crazy as it sounds, you can get into a shamanic state of consciousness with where your assemblage point is shifted, where you can make it rain. You can make lightning strike, guys. You can change weather when your Merkaba is actually working. Believe it or not. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the type of world that we live in, where things like that sound crazy. But being enslaved to a 9-to-5, that's not crazy, right? Oh man. Alright, we're gonna wrap this segment up, guys. You can directly experience the acquisition of your lost power. Your senses will open up and you'll be able to understand more of what the Matrix is trying to convince you and hoodwink you into doing so that you lose your soul as a byproduct. Catch my drift? It's called participation. You don't have to participate with this nonsense. And you can get to the point where you've established a state of health that's beyond what the system's norm of health is. I'm talking about power. I'm talking about ether. I'm talking about fire. Kundalini, folks. This is what they want to stop. Don't you see that? Aren't you paying attention? I hope so. Or are you like millions of these lost souls that are on the earth plantation as slaves? This is a broken system and it's designed this way intentionally. This is a test. Do you not see that? Your heart is being weighed on the scales of Ma'at. Do you not see that? Do you not sense it? Do you not feel it deep within your bones, within your blood? Do you not have a genetic memory of this? You know, you're a lot more aware of what's going on than you give yourself credit for, but you've lulled yourself into a state of slumber. And your day-to-day consciousness now resembles a deep unconscious sleep. There's no lucidity. Getting healthy requires you to become lucid. It takes action. Lucidity requires action because once you become lucid to the truth, you're at a fork in the road, aren't you? You either keep going down the current or you swim up current. Swimming up current takes effort. Builds your muscles though. You see, the easy path is for the sheep. They're floating down the river. All this nonsense, guys, it's subtle poison. Subtle fucking poison. They're modifying our genetics, they're changing the way our body works, and they're giving us a massive inundation of smart devices that make our life convenient. But these smart devices, as they evolve, you guys, they get more and more weaponized, and before you know it, everything on your phone will be able to be implanted into you. And I know that sounds very science fiction, but that's the future, you guys. That's what all the bigwigs are talking about. That is the aspirations of these insane fucking oligarchs that are running the show from behind the scenes. This is insanity. This is absolute insanity, and I have no more patience for the sheep. These people are destined, wired, whatever you want to call it, for their own destruction. They participate with it, and they love it. And they will fight, kick, and scream to defend the status quo.